5-Minute Habits for Healthy Living. This week's habit is called Eat Your Breakfast. Hello, this is Dr. Brian Morris, and welcome to 5-Minute Habits for Healthy Living, where you will learn the tools to practice a healthy lifestyle 5 minutes at a time. I've been practicing internal medicine for 20 years. I went to medical school at Johns Hopkins, I trained at Yale, and I previously held a teaching position at Harvard Medical School. I currently practice medicine and hold a teaching appointment at UCLA Medical School here in Los Angeles, where I teach these tools and these strategies to medical students, house staff, doctors, and of course, to my patients. Before we get to this week's habit, I'd like to remind you that the information contained in this podcast and at 5minutemd.com is intended solely for educational purposes and should not be used to diagnose, treat, or prevent any health condition or illness. This information may not apply to a specific health situation and is not a substitute for medical care by a qualified, licensed, board-certified healthcare professional. Please consult with your healthcare provider before implementing any of the ideas in this podcast or making any changes in your healthcare regimen. Your grandmother was right after all. Doesn't it pain you to hear that? But breakfast is the most important meal of the day. There are many reasons for this, but studies have shown that eating a healthy breakfast reduces how many calories that we eat each day by about 100 calories. Eating a healthy breakfast has also been shown to be associated with lower cholesterol levels and better sugar control. It's a win-win. You get to eat and you get to be healthier at the same time. Why is this the case? When you go long periods of time without eating any significant food, the human body secretes hormones that put us into starvation mode. These hormones are a natural defense mechanism to protect us from times when food might be scarce. These hormones help conserve energy and put our body's resources into long-term savings mode. This long-term savings mode is essentially fat storage. This prepares us for a potential drought. While this may be a reasonable short-term plan for the human body, it is not necessarily good for our long-term health if this happens on a regular basis. And that's what happens when we miss breakfast every day. When we miss breakfast every day, we're essentially shifting our bodies into starvation mode. If we miss breakfast, then we're starving ourselves from the last meal from the night before all the way to lunchtime. If so, we're spending a large chunk of our lives in starvation mode, and the hormones that are secreted contribute to fat accumulation, especially in the midsection, and it also contributes to inflammation in the arteries and organs that appear to contribute to problems like heart attacks, strokes, and cancer. If you finish your dinner at about 8 p.m. and then don't eat again until lunch the following day, then you're going about 16 hours between meals. That's a long time. This isn't a healthy habit to practice. Instead, it's important to have a healthy breakfast upon arising each morning. What is a healthy breakfast option? My personal favorite is oatmeal, which is a wonderfully nutritious food for most people. Years ago, oatmeal had to be prepared in a very slow manner, so many of us remember our parents spending 30 or 40 minutes making us fresh oatmeal on a cold winter morning. Nowadays, there are lots of very healthy, quick-cooking oatmeal options, most of which can be prepared in no more than 5 or maybe 10 minutes. There are even some instant oatmeals which can be prepared in seconds, and these can be a reasonably healthy breakfast option, although the slower cook oatmeals are healthier in general. When shopping for oatmeal, look for evidence that the oat grains used to make the product were whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole. Look at the first two ingredients listed on the box. The word whole, W-H-O-L-E, should appear there, or some other reference that implies that the whole grain was used in the production of the oatmeal. Eating foods that contain whole grains is important because it signifies that the entire grain was used. A whole grain contains 3 different sections: bran, endosperm, and germ. Those are the 3 different parts of the grain, and each of these parts provides us with different important nutrients. When grains are processed and refined, they're made less whole, and some of the nutrients are lost in that manufacturing process. These nutrients may include fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals, or other important nutrients. There's a nonprofit organization called the Whole Grains Council, and they're independent, and they assess many different products, including oatmeal products and cereal products, and they calculate how many grams of whole grains are in each serving of these products. Look for that gold label on many product boxes. That will tell you how many grams of whole grains are in that product. In general, it's ideal for most people to get about 48 grams of whole grains per day. If the gold box is not on the label, you can check the Whole Grains Council website, and that will tell you some of the information that you might be looking for. A good rule of thumb is to look for oatmeal products with very few ingredients. If you're thinking about buying a certain brand of oatmeal and there's about 20 or 30 or 40 different ingredients listed on the label on the box, then that may not be a product you want to buy. Typically, the fewer the number of ingredients, the more nutritious a product will be. So the fewer the ingredients, and the more often that you see the word whole listed in the ingredients, in general, the higher the quality of the product. Some folks advocate for steel-cut oatmeal. This essentially means that the oat was simply cut into pieces instead of rolled flat during the manufacturing process. Rolling the oats requires a steaming process to the oats that may remove a small amount of nutrients, but it does shorten the amount of cooking time necessary. If you have the time to prepare steel-cut oatmeal, that's wonderful. However, if the added cooking time makes this a less appealing option to you, you can consider going with the quicker to prepare rolled oats. Again, the oats being whole rather than refined is more important than the oats being steel cut. And remember that our goal is to eat the healthiest option that we can, so even instant oatmeal is often a better option than things like scones or muffins or pancakes. Cold cereals have also come a long way in the last 20 years. There are now many good options available at almost all grocery stores. Again, look for the Whole Grains Council logo and choose the cereals with the best combination of nutrition: low calories, low saturated fat, low sugar, high fiber, high protein, and good taste. And of course, there are many other great options out there for breakfast, including various protein shakes, egg whites, fruit, Greek yogurt, etc. So remember that your grandmother was right. We should try to eat a healthy breakfast every morning. Speak with your healthcare provider about what might be healthy breakfast choices for you. This may be oatmeal, cold cereal, protein shake, egg whites, fruit, or some other option. Make it a priority to have a healthy breakfast every day, just like your grandmother told you. Let's keep the dialogue going. Let me know what you think of this week's Habit for Healthy Living. Post your comments and your experiences on the 5 Minute MD Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Brian Morris MD, and visit us anytime on our website, 5minutemd.com. Let your friends and your family and your colleagues know about this podcast, and make sure that you are subscribed on iTunes. When you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, you will receive new podcast episodes as soon as they are posted. And if you're finding the information on this podcast helpful, we would really appreciate it if you would take a moment and stop by iTunes and leave us a review. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to make today count. I will see you at the next 5.